I want you to breathe. Now, I realize that you're breathing right now, like this very second while I'm finishing this sentence, but I want you to really and truly breathe. Take in a deep breath from your abdomen in the way that you're supposed to breathe, not from your chest, the way that you probably breathe 99% of the time. Breathe in, breathe out, all the way out, letting every ounce of air leave your lungs. Breathe in, constricting your stomach muscles, filling your cells with oxygen until they can't take it anymore. Breathe out. We do this every second of every day. Breathe. 26,000 times a day, air flows into our lungs and floods out of them. Scientists actually tell us that in all honesty, if we're doing it right, we should only need to take between 4 and 6 breaths a minute. But the average person, when you throw in their distraction, their stress, their hastiness to get wherever they're going next, takes about 16 to 20 breaths a minute. 16 to 20 breaths from our chest. They don't really fill us, don't really give us strength, the energy that we're capable of, but just breaths that keep us going. All of those breaths should give us about 99% of our energy, even more than food, even more than water, more than anything. Our breath is what gives us life. But once again, most of us, we only access 10 to 20% of that energy, breathing far too much, far too fast, and it's not even getting us where it should. Somehow, our breathing, the very heartbeat of our existence, is the perfect metaphor for how most of us live our lives. Far too much, far too fast, and not even remotely giving us the strength, the restoration, the energy, the humanity that we need. And let's be honest, none of us really think about it all that much, right? Our breathing, because, well, it's just what we do. It's part of being human. Breathe in, breathe out. It's not that big of a deal yet. Just like so many other things in our life that we think just happen or are just a part of who we are, our breath. Our breath says something more than what it seems. How many of you have ever looked in a Bible and seen the word Lord capitalized? Probably most of us, right? It's a fairly common practice, a sign that the Lord's name is sacred and important. Now, for us, that word is just that, Lord. But when you trace it back to its original iteration, its original intention, those letters shape and twist into a Y-H-W-H. Yahweh. Spoken in Hebrew, Yah, Hod, Ve, Hod. And what's amazing about this, truly amazing, is that our Jewish brothers and sisters, they don't speak this word. It's too sacred. The Lord's name does not get spoken. There were even rabbis that proposed that this word, this name, wasn't even speakable because it was made up of all vowels. Vowels that were actually breath sounds, making the word unpronounceable because at its heart, the name of the Lord is simply the sound of breathing. Yod, Hey, Va, Hey. Is it possible that what we do 26,000 times a day, that what we think of as commonplace, that what we do without conscious thought, filled with distraction and stress and running around so fast that we can't see where we're going, is say the name of the Lord? Is it possible that what makes us human is saying the name of the Lord? When God first created humanity, we are told that God breathed into a pile of mud that had been molded together. God took Adam, this tiny, inconsequential, meaningless, dead pile of dust, and only by breathing into it, by saying the name of the Lord, did Adam become human. And only by continuing to say the Lord's name over and over and over again did all of creation remain that way. You know, there's a reason why we begin our Lenten journey, why we begin this path to the cross by putting ashes, mere dust, on our foreheads. It's to remind us that we are beautifully, brokenly, vulnerably, miraculously human. It is a stark reminder for us to pause and take an honest assessment of this life we have been blessed with, and to recognize that our minutes, they aren't our own, and they are not innumerable. We are mortal and fallible. We are cells that have been knit together in ways that most of the time work, but sometimes don't. We are flesh and blood and bone, capable of being hurt, capable of doing the hurting, capable of good, capable of harm, capable of so many things, most of which could be done for the good of the rest of the broken, vulnerable humans around us if we're willing to stop running around so fast and actually pause and love one another. What we do here tonight, we don't do so that we can walk around the grocery store or our neighborhood and show people, hey, I went to church today. We don't do this so that we can fly in the face of our gospel message today and practice our piety with boisterous self-attention. We do this so that we can remember that we are dust, that we are human, that we are beautiful creations of our God who breathed life into us and continues to do so even when we screw up so spectacularly sometimes. But there's something else about this dust. It reminds us that when molded in the hands of our amazing Creator God, when literally filled with the name of the Lord, this dust, yes, it becomes human, but it also becomes divine, created in the image of a God whose likeness we share and whose name we breathe. This dust, when imbued with the name of God, becomes capable of amazing things. It becomes capable of serving our neighbor, not because others will see us doing it, but because they, like us, say the name of the Lord 26,000 times a day. Because they, too, are divine, holy dust. This dust becomes capable of intimate, honest, revelatory conversation with our Lord, whose very name we speak in between the words we say aloud in prayer. This dust becomes capable of self-sacrificial living for the sake of others, not because we're seeking to earn something, but because we've already been given all that we need by a God who lived, breathed, and died just like us. This dust, it's a miracle. And it is a miracle because it breathes. It is a miracle because its breath is the name of the Lord, our Lord, who will come down to this earth in the form of a vulnerable, broken human who will suffer and die, who will say the Lord's name with his last breath, all so that we might live eternally. My prayer for each and every one of us for this Lenten season is that we might breathe. Breathe as we were meant to, deeply, richly, calmly from the muscles of our souls. Breathe with the remembrance that our very breath is a prayer of thanksgiving, a prayer of confession, a prayer of forgiveness, a prayer of hope, and a prayer of strength. Breathe with the assurance that we are miraculous dust that is never alone. Breathe with the knowledge that this breath allows us to work for the good of our neighbor, our brothers and sisters, our fellow breathers, our fellow piles of holy dust. May this Lenten season bring you the gift of slow, holy breath that allows you to remember who made you and why. May it remind you that you are human, capable of being broken, but also capable of healing. May it remind you that we do not breathe, we do not say the name of the Lord alone, but we breathe for each other and for and with the Lord who quite literally gives us life. Amen.